Rene, Miss Bekker. Okay. We're waiting for Nos right now to join us. And okay. Okay, Nos is coming.
Hi, am I visible?
Very visible. How are you?
I'm audible. I'm good. How are you?
We're very well. Thank you so much. Yeah, now we are here. This long-awaited episode. People are so excited. Even though some people, since our target is the youth. Most of them, they're struggling with data. But after this episode, we will put this video on YouTube. We'll make it available to them because there are many people who are interested in property. As soon as they saw Rene on that poster, most people are really interested, but we'll also put the video afterwards on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes, I also had some people asking for links and passwords, and I was like, just click on the link, it'll directly go there. And
Yeah.
I checked on Bitly, and already when we sent the poster out, people had already started clicking on the link already.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's
so
true.
there were a number of clicks even before. So I think it's going to be great.
Yes, and I think can you do the introduction and yeah.
Yes, definitely we'll do that. Oh, Rene is with us. Rene is here. Good. Hi, Rene. Mbuyi, can you please unmute?
Okay. Oh, she's cool now.
There we go.
Sorry about that. Oh no, where am I? Are you good, Rene?
I'm good.
Okay, great, awesome. I think we can get started. We have a few people still logging in. Otherwise, I think some will probably just continue coming in because we've sent some reminders to people. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't worry, you may continue. I'll be controlling this site. Don't worry.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Then. All right. So I'll just start with a short intro, and then we can go straight to your presentation, Rene. And we're all good.
Thank you.
All right. So today, as we are here talking about real estate and women in business, I'd just like to firstly greet everyone who is here and everyone who will still be joining us and everyone who will also be watching through the YouTube channel. My name is Nosi Pomkize and I'm your co-host with Mbuyiselo Vilagazi, and this is the Lockdown Chat with Nos and Mbuyi, powered by Enable SA. This is our second season of the Lockdown Chat, and we welcome you to our August Women's Month special. Today, on our fifth episode, we are joined by Rene to discuss real estate and women in business. Rene is a down-to-earth person with a tremendous big heart for the local community. As the chairperson for the Richards Bay Family Care Organization, she is continuously involved in community projects and women empowerment initiatives. As someone who is passionate about learning and studying and teaching, she is currently studying towards her BCom in property law. She has completed various diplomas in business and marketing management, as well as being a master practitioner in real estate. And next to her list is social auxiliary work, which is to assist more with youth development, which I believe is why she is with us even today, as we are a youth-led movement. Her lovely team at Rene Bekker Properties shares the passion she has for people and, of course, property. They are known mostly for working with the three big P's: people, passion, and property. Everyone, please help Mbuyi and I welcome a woman of change and a woman with endless possibilities, Rene Bekker from Rene Bekker Properties. Welcome, Rene.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're just going to hand over to you, and we're here to learn from you and gain knowledge and wisdom and some insights into the industry that you are a master woman of. Please take the table.
Thank you, Naz. Okay, so as everyone know, I'm Rene from Rene Bekker Properties. I'm also just a small town, ordinary girl that believes she's capable of extraordinary things. And I'm both honored and privileged for the opportunity to actually talk to you today in a capacity to also speak to you about women empowerment and women in business. So thank you, Naz, and Enable SA for providing me this opportunity and to be part of such a great platform as an ongoing process to provide the tools and resources and encouragement women need to perform at optimum level and reach their actual full potential. Women empowerment to me is a process in which women elaborate and recreate what it is that they can be, do and accomplish in a circumstance that they previously were denied. We live in a society filled with so many fears, challenges, difficulties and struggles, most of which are sometimes undeniably unspoken. And even more so today, as we experience this unprecedented pandemic, what we just cannot ignore, even if we tried. If I could share with you, one of my biggest fears has always been public speaking, and that I have challenged myself to overcome that fear and to recognize the opportunity that actually lies hidden away within that fear. So I told myself it's my duty to accept every public invitation that comes my way and rather seize that opportunity, not just for our business in real estate, but to assist in empowering each of you listening in. As today, I would love to challenge you to recognize and acknowledge just one fear that you have within you that you can work towards as part of inner growth and empowering yourself to overcome. So from humble beginnings, Rene Bekker Properties was born in mid-2017 when I not only realized that there's a major gap in the property industry to be different. And by different, I meant by being real, by being true, open, honest, and transparent with a deep sense of understanding and compassion for people, cultural diversity, and the impact that we can have on ordinary lives. Our slogan, People, Passion, and Property, speaks volumes, and it's backed by real people we've impacted over the years. When you are passionate about something, I believe it comes from the heart. It's where passion meets purpose. You're destined for so much more as long as you keep it real, commit to all you've got, and drive it with all you have, day in and day out. You will reap those benefits, and ultimately, that will make you successful. A lot of people think to believe that I'm an overnight success. If you can call 26 years of hard work, blood, sweat, and many, many tears an overnight success, well, then I'm not going to argue that. The most important factor is that you believe in you, in your capabilities. And if you don't, then please, I need you to start with that today. We are, we all have good, strong qualities and skills. Start with that, build on that. Whatever you're good at, focus on the strengths. Weaknesses aside, we all have weaknesses, and that's not the focus here. We need to focus on the inner strengths that we have. Now, there's so much that I could tell you about real estate investing and how to become part of the evolution, as owning a home is the cornerstone of wealth, both financial affluence as well as emotional security. Today, more women are acquiring their share in property, as not so long ago, women did not have equal rights, nor were they allowed ownership of property or other entities. Luckily today, the picture has changed significantly as women are empowered and even celebrated. Statistics shows us that there's been a 50% growth since 2013 of single women investing in property. Now, if I can just give you a quick rundown, if your gross monthly income is approximately 20,000 Rand, so you earn 20,000 Rand a month, you could potentially qualify for a 700,000 Rand bond and a repayment of 6,000 Rand per month, obviously depending on the interest rate given to you by the financial institution. All of the focus today is on you, and to move forward in empowering yourself, for you to walk away with that sense of enablement. After all, it's essential for the achievement of sustainable development to improve in our economic status. We often get so caught up within our environment and circumstances that we completely lose focus and tend to dwell on all the things in our lives that's wrong. Let's rather take that negativity in your life at this very moment and make sure that that motivates you, allows that negativity to move you into a better sphere where you strongly believe that negativity brings us nowhere, but rather takes us a couple of steps back. Remember, change always starts with you today. If there's one thing that really, really counts, is that we stand together, you know, as women and the youth, and take what we have that we can work with today, whether good or bad. What is within our control? What can we make better? What can we work with? Together we can strive to be so much more sustainable and improve our quality of life, of our families and within our communities, if change starts with us today. We all have a voice and we need to be heard by promoting education, training, professional development across all sectors, and even on platforms like Enable SA. I've got a couple of empowerment principles that I would love to share with you. The one thing that's very important to me is building relationships. Any relationship with a client, with a customer, with friends, family is extremely important. That's a cornerstone of every business, is building long-lasting, beneficial business relationships. Leadership promotes gender equality. Compassion and care goes a tremendous long way. To be real, to be you, to be vulnerable. Nothing is more valuable to me than if a client or a person trusts me. It goes such a long way. When we establish that trust relationship, there's so much that we can actually do. It's our duty as women in business to recognize, empower, and develop women in the workplace, marketplace, and community. In the private sector, to me, plays an enormous part as a key partner in efforts to advance gender equality and empowering women. At Rene Bekker Properties, 80% of our workforce is female, empowering our female employees to take on more of an authoritative role within the business. For the past 3 years consecutively, we've created and been involved in many community female-driven projects, each team member deciding on a project and becoming the leader of that initiative. These project initiatives have resulted in introverted women taking the lead and successfully running with a project. So in conclusion, I'd like to leave with you a few of my favorite quotes from someone I view on a personal, inspirational level and a mentor, Oprah Winfrey. You are responsible for your life. If you're sitting around waiting for someone to save you, to fix you, or to even help you, you're wasting your time. Only you have the power to move your life forward. This is your moment, own it. Where there's no struggle, there's no strength. You have to find what sparks the light within you in your own way, and you can illuminate the world. So thank you once again for a great event and for being part of positive change. I look forward to assist you with any questions you have with regards to real estate, property finance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rene. That was powerful and impactful, and you said some really great words that can help in business as women and personally as well, and spiritually. That's so important for us. What I'd like to know from you before we get deep down into other gritty details, I'd like to know, what was it like for you growing up here in Richards Bay, in a small town, humble beginnings? What what inspired you to get into real estate, from your upbringing and how you grew up and your vision of the future, what you wanted. How was your childhood like here?
All right, so I grew up fairly middle class. So we weren't poor, but we weren't rich either. But I always knew there's more to life than what I grew up with and what I was used to. And I always knew I want something more from life. But I learned at a very early age that I have to go and get it. I have to put in the work. I have to make that change happen. So I've only been in real estate for the past 5 years, and I've learned a tremendous amount of knowledge and experience along the way. But one thing very important, and that is that you've got to do the work. And everything that you attempt or you want to attempt is work. It's hard work. You have to commit to that and actually put in the effort, put in the work, and you can make anything you put your mind to actually work.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to Mbuyiselo Vilakazi to come in quickly with some questions as well, just for him to also introduce himself. As someone also who's in law, a candidate practitioner, I think can come in with some great some questions there for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nos, for the opportunity. I hope you are good, Rene. Thank you so much for those inspiring words. One thing that I'm learning from you, I was just looking at the Instagram page of Rene Properties, Rene Bekker Properties. I was just looking at how that you guys are not just about selling, but you are also about building relations and also with the people. You know, it's not just about selling, but there's also that human component and that element that that is relatable, you know, with your company. So I really loved that. I have a question. And also thank you for the words that you've just shared with us. I've got a question with regards to to buying property. So I want to find out what mistakes do we make, or rather what technicalities do we always overlook when we want to buy property. You know, maybe in the years that you've been in the field, you've been observing, and then you see the technicalities that people are always overlooking, and eventually or somehow it ends up causing problems in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. No, I just have to add, it's people first. So we're extremely big in the community. It's not just about selling property and making money. That's not what our business is about, and that's not what life's about. The technicalities, it's a very interesting question. Thank you so much for that. What we pick up a lot is where people say, I'm looking for a property I want to buy for 2 million rand. Now, that's a figure that someone, you know, that they quickly worked out and they think they can afford 2 million. What we often find is doing a pre-approval for the client absolutely at no cost to them, where we find out exactly what is their actual income versus the expenses and what bond the banks will actually give them. It's extremely important to know you can qualify for 2 million, or maybe you can only qualify for 1 million. Instead of putting your heart out there, looking at properties only in the 2 million rand bracket, when you find out you can only maybe purchase for 1 million, or you might even be able to purchase for 4 million. So doing a pre-approval and getting those facts, figures, and numbers in place is the most important process to start off with in terms of looking at property, because it's heartbreaking. You're looking at properties, and there's a lot of properties on the market, you know, over the 2 million bracket. You're looking at all of that properties, and property is a very emotional thing. So you put your heart on a property and you sign the offer to purchase, just to realize afterwards, but according to the bank and affordability, you cannot afford that property. So doing that homework beforehand helps a lot during the process.
Oh, thank you so much for that response. And now going forward in the future, we will really, I'm sure people will benefit from that. And also, while Nos was doing the introduction, she mentioned that you are also pursuing a diploma in law of property or property law, which is a very interesting branch of law, and it has many interesting dynamics. I just want to find out, why is it important, especially if you're buying property? There are many legal technicalities and legal aspects that one needs to take into account. Why, before buying property, one needs to get a proper legal advice? You know, there's conveyancing that is involved in all of that, but why is it crucial for you to get a proper legal advice? Because there are things that you need to sign, and also looking forward, you don't want to have certain consequences in the future, but you sign to something. But why is it important for one to be well acquainted, not necessarily with the law, but to have that legal counsel or guidance before venturing into property?
Absolutely. What a client needs to understand, the most important thing is when you want to put in an offer to purchase over a property, you need to understand that that sale agreement is a legal and binding contract. So once you've signed on the dotted line, there's no cancelling that agreement when all suspensive conditions have been met. Suspensive conditions is, for example, a bond over the property, you apply for 100% bond or 80% bond or whatever the case might be. So once you've signed that offer to purchase, it's legal and binding on you. If you decide within a week, oh no gosh, I've seen another property which is better and I want to cancel the other one and put an offer in here, you need to understand the ramifications from that. So the seller could hold you legally liable for costs incurred, for damages, etc., all depending on where that actual transfer process is taking place. So it's very important that people understand, and we like to work through our contracts, which is a 13-page document, to understand every single clause in there, and once you've signed it, how you bind it into that contract. So yeah, it's very important that people actually understand that process and how it works when you sign on that dotted line.
Thank you so much for your response. Now I'm going to hand over to Nosroyal for questions.
Thank you for that, Mbuyi, and thank you, Rene, for your answers. Very important and helpful, really. I want to know more on the business side. As a business leader and being female, have you faced any challenges with any possibly male-dominant business leaders in property? And if so as well, are there any, I don't know if I'm putting it correctly, saying ill business behaviors that you may have seen in other property companies that you like to do differently in your own company?
Absolutely, Naz. Yeah, that's inevitable. 5 years ago, I was the joke of the town when I said, I one day want to start my own real estate company. So a lot of the big franchises, it was an absolute a laughing matter. Anyway, I believe that what I put my mind to, I can achieve, and I'll work, towards that. And that's, I don't know where they are today. I can't find them laughing anymore. Anyway, so there's a lot of illegal practices taking place out there. I think in every industry, not just in real estate per se. I tend to focus on our business and the fact that we are transparent and we do things according to the book and we do it right. So I don't care much, what's happening about, behind the scenes in other companies and so forth. Although I might be fully aware of such practices, it's important that we focus on the here and the now and our business and what we are actually doing right. And also a big thing for us is 20% of our income actually goes back to our communities. That's something that's extremely close to my heart, and giving back. It's not just about taking, it's actually about what are we giving back to the communities that are actually supporting my business.
True on that. Actually, thank you for mentioning that and reminding us that it is about the people, it is about the community. Please tell us more about the organizations that you have been involved in. Just previously, we were part of the Cancer Active Boardwalkathon, and I know you give away a lot of food parcels, and you're part of the local community. Please tell us more about the initiatives that you're involved in. What are you doing? And also this month, what can we see you doing more?
All right. So as we all know, poverty is a real big thing in Richards Bay, well, overall in South Africa, and more so now, people are seriously struggling. This whole unprecedented pandemic has caused a lot of people to lose their jobs or lose, part of their income. So it's extremely important. What we are trying to do is to try and educate our rural communities where they can actually plant vegetables. So we are teaching the children to plant and grow their own vegetables to create that sustainability. So that's a very big ongoing project. And then we get involved in a lot of small little projects, like, for example, the Cancer Board Walkathon. And then also with Richards Bay Family Care, we try and do, various competitions to actually try and raise monies so we can, proceed with the actual food drive. It's not that easy, because a lot of businesses are really struggling, and the income that we used to get fairly easily has become very hard. So we try and focus more on the sustainability in areas such as eSekhawini, Matlazini, Mzingozi, where there's a lot of young children that can actually learn to plant seeds and grow vegetables. So we've also planted quite a couple of trees at House of Grace in Mzingozi. I don't know if people are familiar with that NPO there. They do such amazing work for the children there. And then I believe Success Way in eSekhawini, and then Richards Bay Family Care is, the whole of Richards Bay. So we try and come up with ideas as to how you can sustain yourself, how you can, for example, make clothes or make beads and actually sell that for an income. So that's extremely important. We can always raise funds and do the food drive continuously. However, we need to teach people to look after themselves and their families. How can they do that better? How can they learn new skills to develop themselves? So that's something that's very important, and that we're continuously working on with businesses to try and get more involvement, as the sponsor of the seeds and the soil, etc., etc.
That is really interesting, and I like the fact that you do not only empower a person through giving something necessarily that is tangible, but also, for me, knowledge is vital, because it does not get spoiled in any way, and it's always we I believe so much in empowering young people, as we have enabled the program, that we have to empower young people so that they can also be able to empower others. That's our slogan: to empower one so that the person can also empower the next person. And that is very important. Thank you so much for that. And
Absolutely.
I've got a question, and I'm gonna read a question that is coming through. We are often told, especially in this generation, invest, but no one ever tells us what invest in property. That's, you read books, invest in property, but we don't know exactly what does that mean. And I want to find out about investment opportunities in the property, when it comes in property, because for example, I don't know any opportunity. So after this, maybe I'll be convinced to go and invest in property. Then second question is from Nkosi Mbele. He says, okay, which provers are the best when it comes to applying for a bond? I know different banks have different interest rates. Which one has she? Okay, which one has she worked? Which one have you worked with smoothly, and which one you think is fair? And yeah, and yeah, that's what he's saying. So those are the two questions.
Okay, 100%. Let me just answer the latter question. So we work with the 5 major banks, which is ABSA, FNB, Nedbank, Standard Bank, and Itala. So each bank works on an individual credit profile. So we can't say this bank, gives the most bonds or the best rates, etc., etc. Each and every single bond bank works with an individual credit profile. So once again, when we do the pre-approval, we can tell you exactly what you can afford and what you can buy for, give you an idea as to look at property price ranges. And then once you've signed the offer and we actually submit your application to the banks, then we start getting the approvals from the banks, and can we negotiate the one bank to the other in terms of interest rate. So each bank will come back with a different criteria depending on your credit profile. And then in terms of investing in property, you've got to start somewhere. So by starting somewhere, let's start with a pre-approval. Let's look at your income. Let's look at your credit profile. Let's see, because your credit profile is of utmost importance. If you've got a good credit ranking, and it will give you a possibility of 100% bond. If not, if you pay your accounts late or you skip a payment here and there, you're going to have a problem in securing 100% loan for you. So that's very important, and that's the aspects that we need to look at. Then you've got to look at what you can afford. Argument's sake, let's say you can afford a 600,000 Rand a bond. We've got to look at properties in that range. If you look in Richards Bay, you might be able to buy a 1 or a 2 bedroom flat, which you can possibly rent out. So you purchase that property, it's going to cost you 5,000 Rand a month in terms of your bond repayment. You can rent that property out for 6,500 Rand a month. That's enough to cover your bond, cover your levies, rates, and taxes. That is investing in property, my friend. So, and whatever extra money that you have, you've got to put it into that bond. Don't be foolish when you earn more money over a property, paying your bond and then spending the rest as an income. That is not proper investing. So whatever extra monies you have, even if it's a lousy 100 Rand, you pay it into your bond, because 5 or 6 years down the line, that's going to mean a lot in terms of your bond repayments and interest savings.
Yo, thank you so much for that. And I know Nos must be next right now, but there's a question that is coming through in my mind. Let's say I bought property, and at that moment I was affording. Now what happens is, what if maybe a person, right now people are being retrenched. You bought that property and started to pay because you were affording at that time. But now what happens if you cannot, you feel like I can no longer afford this property? What happens in that regard?
Okay, all right. So there's a lot of ways that we can help you. The most important thing is, and I want to make it very clear, if you come to a realization that you're in trouble and you cannot service your bond, you've got to make contact with us immediately. So there's a couple of options that we can give you. The first option would be is to speak to the bank. They do allow between 3 and 6 months now a payment holiday, as they refer to it, where they basically don't debit your account. Your bond repayment is not due, but they just extend the term of your bond, whether it's 20 or 30 years, they'll just extend it with that 3 or 6 months or whatever the case might be. If you feel that you're really in trouble, you need to rather sell your property, we can look at that option for you, do an assessment on your property, see what's outstanding on the bond, get the settlement, and advise you accordingly. But the most important thing is to speak up, to communicate. Don't wait too long. Don't wait when it's too late and 3 or 6 months down the line, you've missed payments and now you're in real trouble where your property might go into possession. We want to avoid that at all costs because it's completely unnecessary. There's a lot of things in place currently today where the banks want to assist people to actually keep their properties. So there's many ways that we can assist a client with that, but you've got to communicate and you've got to speak up very quickly.
Thank you for that. I also wanted to ask, in terms of people making mistakes in buying property and making mistakes in investing, are there any cases that you faced whereby there's been conflicts within a community that's getting involved, maybe a fault that is not possibly directly by the buyer or investor themselves, but to find out that legally there were some mistakes in the ownership of the property, and that property belongs to someone else who's not there? Maybe a family member has come back from a different town, or even the community itself claims that piece of land or the property. What happens in those sort of conflicts where the buyer or investor themselves was not at fault and didn't know of these complications with the ownership of that property?
Okay, now, so that very, very, very seldom happens, if ever, because of the due diligence and the process that we follow. So every single property has a specific title deed. So on that title deed, the owner is reflected on there. If the owner is not reflected on that title deed, we have a real problem. So that hardly can ever happen, you know. So every single property has a property title deed, and the owner is verified through our process, through the attorney's conveyancing process, and then obviously also in the deeds office ultimately. So that rarely ever happens.
All right. I thought Mbuyi would come in there for a bit. Okay, we have just a few minutes left. I think probably roughly about 3 minutes or so. Anything you'd like to say in closing that you'd want to encourage other people, maybe young people that want to get into real estate and property investment, or anything for our viewers today?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love for people to be to communicate, to approach us at any given time. Give me a phone call, pop me an email. You know, if there's any questions or any uncertainties that you do have, chat to me. I'm an open book. I love to teach people and I love to educate. And I want our youngsters to actually learn. There's a lot of youngsters out there that are 20, 22, 23 years old. They hold a good job, you know, they receive a good income. Spend it wisely. Spend it wisely by investing in that roof over your head. Because I believe that's the most important thing. Not a fancy car or fancy shoes, but the roof over your head that's there for a lifetime, for your family, for your children. So please talk to me. Any advice, we do absolute free pre-approvals. It costs you nothing. So I'm open to any questions. Pop me an email, pop me a WhatsApp message, give me a call. If there's anything you need to know, if there's any assistance that you need, if you're struggling to make your bond payments, we are here to assist you. We do not want you to lose your property. That is not what property is about. And then I need youngsters to really change circumstances. You know, if you come from a bad past or you grew up extremely poor, surely you want to change that. And it's within you to make that change, you know, and there's so many opportunities, you know, that I think to myself, gosh, if only I had that opportunity 20 years ago, you know, that our young people of today actually have, that they completely miss. You know, now I need youngsters to be more wide awake and grab those opportunities. You know, there's a lot of internships out there. Grab it, you know, and learn, upskill yourself. You every single day, you know, you can learn something new, and you've got to always be open and hungry for that knowledge and to learn more. And there's people out there like myself that will gladly pass on, you know, our experiences and knowledge, and the things that I've forgotten, you know, I will pass over to youngsters. So yeah, please feel free to chat to myself, our bond consultant, or any of our agents.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rene.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And you know, this interview was very eye-opening, and we learned a lot. I'm sure Nos learned a lot. I'm sure others who are joining us, they learned a lot, and we're also going to put it on YouTube. I don't even know what to say, but you just simplified property, because, you know, normally when we hear about property, we hear big terms like, and you're thinking, okay, I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to go that route, but you've just simplified property. And thank you so much. You're doing a great job, and your team, I commend you guys for the professionalism that you guys have, the branding, everything is just on point. And also, may you continue to thrive, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, so all of the footage has been recorded and will be on the YouTube channel Enable SA, and your contact and profile will be shared on the Facebook page Enable SA. So anybody that wants to contact you, of course, we've tagged you in everything, and they can still go to the page to find out more. And we'll continue conversating with you when we have questions as well. When we're ready to invest and buy, we're definitely going to call Rene Bekker. So thank you so much for honoring our invitation today. It's been a blessing. And also shout out to Chanel. Thank you so much. We're blessed to have you all here today.
Thank you, Nas. Appreciate it.